Are having, well, Alera and I are having fun. I know she's watching. She sent us a couple of messages, but we're having fun here. And this is a home stretch. Our artist of the week is a PhD student. Can you beat that? Yes, he's a PhD student. He's a first-class graduate of political science. And he chose to leave all of that and go do. He's a stand-up comic. He's been actively doing comedy and anchoring events for over a decade and has carved a niche for himself as an ethical comedian. Eloquent and organized, he has had the privilege of hosting all manner of events. But I like this part. His quest for professionalism earned him the trust of his clients, and he contributes to social societal development by an initiative that he set up. I won't call the name because it's his name. And he uses the opportunity to encourage students in school to go the extra mile in their studies. So as I said earlier, he's a first class graduate in political science and currently a PhD student. So he's working for his doctorate. He's presented academic papers in both local and international conferences. Okay. Please, ladies and gentlemen, join me to welcome Doctor in the Making, Adegboye Damola.
Yes.
Doctor, how now?
It's still under construction.
I'm still under construction. So who's doing this construction?
Well, it's the whole process between myself and the
And the school.
and the university. Yes.
So you studied political science?
Yes, I did. I did.
First class?
Yes.
Went to masters?
Yes, I did.
And then you decided that you don't want to do anything with politics?
Well, it may come up as time goes on.
Are you serious?
You know. So
you
if
want
it
to
comes
be
up,
the
so
next president of Ukraine?
You know, basically, the reason why I'm doing all this is just it's part of the goals I set for myself as an individual.
Okay, you were listening to that conversation.
I was listening to them, but beyond, listening to them, it has always been one of my dreams as a young boy then, to go the extra mile in anything that I do. And that is what informs my quest for more knowledge as a student that I am till date. Yes, so that is why I'm here.
So you're a student till date?
Yes.
Okay, so I'll read this tweet out. And before that last segment, we're looking at the national pledge. Oh, sorry, we went to school, social studies. We started with national anthem, then we'll get into the pledge. I don't know where we're going to next week, but let's say with this pledge. So, Shung Odotun, Shungo Dotun, I hope I got that well, Shungo Dotun says, we need to have a national pledge day and impute an importance in schools. Our leaders need to have a session a month on national pledge. Maybe it will imprint some sense of loyalty in them to our motherland. Boniface says our leaders need to sit down and ponder on the national anthem and the national pledge and what it really communicates. When last did you say the national pledge? Say the truth.
National pledge. I sing the national anthem most of the time.
When you are comparing
but
events.
the pledge,
When last did you say the national?
It was on the assembly ground so many years ago.
So on the assembly ground.
Yes.
But okay, national anthem is a call from the nation, right? But the pledge, why do you not say it as often as every day you wake up?
Well, I try to live the pledge, Reciting it is not necessarily living in the content of the pledge. Some people just say it as a general rhyme or as a general statement. Some people have not internalized the content. And if you look at every line of that pledge, you discover that everything speaks to your responsibility and your loyalty to your nation or to your nation. It tries to project some dimensions of patriotism and to also encourage people to have faith in the entity called Nigeria. I pledge to Nigeria, my country.
Even if the entity doesn't have confidence in them.
Well, it's your country. There's nothing you can do about it. You have to continue to be loyal to it. You are an active participant. You are an actor in the same system. And by virtue of that, you need to continue to remind yourself that I pledge to this country to be faithful, to be loyal. People need to internalize it. Some people just say it and they've forgotten the fact that it has some very deep meanings.
Okay, so
if you look at it closely.
why did you study political science?
Yeah, well, I just went to where I felt comfortable, you know. Before I was deceiving myself that I want to study economics. But when you meet mathematics, especially at JAM level, it will humble you in the real sense of it. I discovered that I had a very strong phobia for maths. And I knew that JAM was just like the beginning of greater mathematical challenges I was going to face if I continued with it. So I just asked myself, what works for me? What will make my life simple? And then I went through that JAM brochure then very, very well. I looked for the particular subjects that I knew that if I could combine, you know, in JAM, I will easily get a good score, and that if I start the journey, I'll be able to sustain it. And I discovered that when I wrote JAM, I passed well. And then from there...
What did you score?
Now people get 350 over 400. I don't know how, but then I got 265, you know. And then I just wanted to study political science. I knew that the cutoff was not going to be too high. And then I wanted to go to Ife, but then one or two things came up. I found myself in Osun State University. And I worked so hard. I made a decision then, while I was in 100 level, that anything that will make me stay here, I must have a first class or nothing. So I worked hard at it. And I was so determined to have the first class through whatever means that I could.
So you mean within that period, you had no shows, you didn't go for any shows?
I was actively involved in shows. I was cracking jokes every Friday at different, school parties then. Then they would call me, I'll go and crack jokes here and there, make people laugh. They pay me a lot, 1.5, 1.2.
1.5 is
Some will give me a handshake and pray that I will get home safely and all those things. It was just the process. And today I find myself on some mega platforms, and I discovered that most of the things that I used to build my capacity then are what I'm thriving on today.
Like what are those things?
One, the ability to face any kind of audience. I discovered that while I was a student, I was anchoring school events that will involve the presence of professors and the likes. That required some level of confidence, some attention to your English, comportment and the likes. So I was building capacity then. But as far as I was concerned, I did not know I was building capacity. I was just having fun. I was just enjoying myself. I'll crack jokes. People shake me, you are good, you are this, you are that. And at the end of the day, they will give me 1, 2. So from there, I started growing. Eventually, the first wedding I did, I've forgotten how much I charged the couple. But I know that they are still owing me my balance. I think I charged them 3,500.
They're still owing your balance?
But I can't recognize them
What
again.
Year is that?
That was 2000 and, was it 2008 or 9? Something like that.
You can still recognize them.
Honestly.
Or you made too much money now, you don't need that money.
No, they must have increased in size, so I may not know.
So they can give you at the interest.
I donated to that. Yeah. So over those years, I was building capacity. So some people don't really understand the fact that in the background, a lot of people have been working, that then you did not know them. And suddenly they just pop up and you're like, where did this guy come from? No, he has been working in the past. He has been working in the background, I met a young man yesterday that just came to meet me at the event I was anchoring. Sir, I'm very funny. I don't know if you can help me. I just want people to hear that. I said, have you done comedy before? He said, yeah, I know I can do it. I said, if you climb on this stage, you may mess it up because you have not really gone through the process of, you don't even know if you can face this particular kind of an audience. Start small, build it. And, there's a sequential process of growth. And if you follow that process, you discover that by the time you come out, people will be wondering, where did you come from?
So are you implying that even the art of comicking has a process of growth?
Yes. Being funny is one. Being skillful at being funny is another.
Being funny is one.
Yes.
Being skillful at being funny.
Yes.
Okay.
Everybody's a raw talent. Every funny person is just a raw talent. There are some people they sit down here, everybody starts laughing. You put them on stage, they are quiet, they don't know what to do. Or they don't know the right words to say or how to arrange those jokes. And by virtue of that, they may mess it up. So, there was a process for me. I was generally funny. I was just a noisemaker in class, always on the noisemakers list, always making people laugh here and there. I was made class captain because they felt if I'm the one writing names of noisemakers, I'll keep my mouth shut. Eventually, my name still entered the names of noisemakers, you know. And then it continued like that. So when I got into the university, I discovered that there was more responsibility. It was more challenging because then I had to gather my thoughts then, as rough as it could have been then. But when I got out of the university, then I met mentorship. I met my boss, Sako, who helped me to refine what I do. Damola, these are the kinds of jokes you should do in this type of a place. These are the type of jokes that you should totally avoid. Don't do them anymore. These are the kinds of jokes that you can say in a corporate event. These are the kinds of jokes you can say in a social gathering. And so it helped my thoughts. So it refined the talent. That's why we say we have rice, general uncooked rice is food. But until it is processed, until it is refined, it cannot be eaten. So it went through that process of refining. And so in the creation of my jokes nowadays, in my approach to the job, it's all tailored towards the fact that I'm working on myself. I've worked on myself. I'm still working on myself. I'm trying to be a better person, trying to be a better version of my art, and trying to deliver quality content perpetually. And I thank God that, you know, it shows. People tell me after my events that, wow, that was good, you speak well, that was funny. You don't shout. It's not a crime to shout as a comedian if that works for you. But for me, I don't believe in shouting. I believe in passing my message.
So what happens when have you ever been in a show, for instance, where you gave your best joke and everybody was just looking at you?
Yes, it has happened.
So how did you feel?
Well, it's part of the building process.
Guy,
you know,
leave this is part of the building process. How did you feel?
Terrible, of course. What type of joke is this one now that I've cracked and everybody's looking at me like, you know, but then, as a comedian, you need to have a backup plan all the time. Just have one joke that you know that one way or the other it is going to work. So if you drop your first joke and people are looking at you, and then you drop your second one and people are looking, I have one in the reservoir that you know that this one relates to general life. And then when you deliver it, hopefully something comes.
Hopefully. And if the hope fails?
And if the hope fails, just walk off the stage. You know, some people have bad days on stage. Trust me. Even the best of the best, even those that you feel are mega funny. Some audiences will just look at you. Okay, let's hear what he has to say. And by the time you are cracking the joke and you think you are doing a good job, they'll just be looking at you. And when you are done, okay. That same joke, you can go and do it somewhere else and it will scatter everywhere. You know, there's sometimes you just have bad days, but as much as possible, we try to work in a way that we don't...
Do you repeat your joke?
Sometimes you have to. To build a good joke, it requires some research, requires some work. For example, there are some jokes that are built in 6 months.
Jokes that?
Are built or are created in 6 months. There are some jokes that are built in 1 year. There's a particular joke, yes.
For 6 months?
Yes.
You're building it?
Yes. Yes, sir. That's why you hear some jokes and you're like, wow. There are some comedians in Nigeria that you hear and you're like, wow, how did this guy think about this? There's a particular comedian, I don't know if I'm permitted to mention his name. He does his shows twice. He does his shows after 2 years. What does he do? He uses 2 years to build content. Those jokes are, by the time you hear them, you will know that, this joke is thick. There are some jokes that are spontaneous, that are on the spot. But there are some other jokes that are built over time. There was a particular joke of mine I did with my boss, Sako, a few years back. That joke started in the year 2009. In terms of creating it. The time the joke went viral was in 2015. You can imagine that length of time. Every day you try to build.
We'll go on a break, but when we come back, I'd like to know, when you're building this joke, is it that you don't say it at all?
You say it.
It's just...
No, you say it. You say it. You test it on
Okay,
smaller stages.
don't worry. We'll be back in a moment to answer more questions on all this. Please stay with us. Thank you for staying with us. We still have the comedian who's also a doctor in the making, a.k.a. Dr. Damola.
In view.
In view. Okay, so you were talking about the building of the joke.
Yes.
And I said, is it that you do not say the joke when you say building a joke, are there some jokes you don't say at all
No,
until
you
the
have
maturity period?
No, you have to. But when you know that this joke has gotten to that maturity point, you will know. But there's a time that you think about it and then you are like, oh, okay. For example, this joke that I created, it took a few months. The first day I did it, it did not work. Trust me. But I had so much confidence in it. You know, I tell people, I started this way. I said that we're taught in school that there are two broad classes of animals. We're told that we have wild animals and we have domestic animals. We're told that wild animals stay in the bush, domestic animals live among men. Now, domestic animals can be categorized into two. We have those that are pets, we have those that are for consumption. Now, those that are pets are either bought deliberately or are given as gifts, while those that are for consumption end up in the pot. Examples of pets, we have dogs, we have cats. Examples of those for consumption, we have fish, we have goats, we have the likes. Now, these two broad classes of animals have their specific food. We have chicken feed, we have goat food, we have cat food, and so on and so forth. But there is one animal. It looks like a domestic animal. It has every attribute of a wild animal. Dead or alive, it's a terrorist. You know, I'm talking about rats. You know, rats are terrible animals, dead or alive. A rat can decide to eat anything. Among other things, a rat can decide to eat somebody's certificate. To first go to the person's VC signature.
Why do the rats always start from the signature?
I wonder.
Point?
They always have.
It's as if they know.
They have annual general meeting actually.
Rats.
And so they decide on how they target things. From the VC signature, they go to the name of the university. If you went to Unilag, it can hit Uni and leave Lag. If you had the first class, it can hit first and leave class. If you had the 2-1, it can hit 2 and leave 1. So if you wrote to WAEC, you got 5 A's and 6 F. It can hit all the A's and leave all the F. It will not look as if you worked in vain. It's only a rat that can hit your leg while you are sleeping. And you'll be blowing breeze in your leg. You'll be saying, NEPA has brought light, NEPA has brought light, NEPA has brought light. So if you get so frustrated and decide to kill the rat with, let's say, rat gum, for example, one of two things will likely happen. It's either you step on it by yourself, or you start catching things that does not concern it, like war gecko and cockroaches and the likes. If you decide to use a stick, you break your TV, break your windscreen, you will injure yourself, you fall down, the rat will still escape. But if you decide to kill the rat with rat poison, it will die. But it will not die where you can see it.
It will die in one
hidden place. Decide to die inside your suit.
And the smell will be horrible.
Inside your suit.
One of those your favorite suits.
Or inside your shoe. You can die inside the AC. And by the time you turn it on, there's a special release. The day you now find it, you say, oh, well, you don't know it has given birth to 12. The journey starts again. You know, it can be very terrible. So that kind of joke now, it took me time. It took me time to build it that way. And those are the kinds of jokes that I do. I do jokes that stimulate your mind, that make you think, that also makes you laugh eventually.
Indeed,
you know?
Indeed.
But I talked about, okay.
Before you talk about, you do this, besides the fact that you trade in laughter, there's this thing you do about the youth. Why are you going back to children in school and all of that?
Now, what worked for me is what I'm trying to replicate.
You mean you had people come to talk to you in school?
Yes.
Okay.
What worked for me is what I'm trying to replicate. I was a student. While I was a student, I was anchoring events. I was cracking jokes. I was in so many student shows as at that time, and I still had the first class. So what I'm trying to do is to try to encourage a lot of people. So a lot of people tell me, sir, I'm an entrepreneur in school, but it's affecting my academics. How do I combine? I try to encourage them on the effective way of combining stuff, so that of combining their academics and their talents, so that they can still, do well with it. Some will tell, sir, I'm a comedian. I crack jokes in school, but I don't want it to affect my academics. What do I do? So I've been able to, at least since 2016, thereabout, I've been able to go to a few schools to
talk to them about
preach this particular gospel of the possibility of combining whatever you do with your academics and still coming out well. And the feedback has been amazing. You see some students that are tailors and are still doing well in school.
And that's what you do with the Adegboye Damola initiative.
Yes.
Well done. So what's the plan for tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
In 30 seconds.
Okay.
Tomorrow being future.
The future. Well, to add value to society, to use every capacity I have to develop individuals, to develop myself, and to also live a life that is worthy of emulation for people to, you know, always learn from.
Okay, so if you
To be a
had,
responsible
being that you
Nigerian.
studied political science, so you understand the politics of Nigeria, if you're going to talk to the youth who are seeking to be leaders of tomorrow, looking at your camera,
Okay.
what would you say to them?
All right. Personal leadership first. Be responsible as an individual. It's when you are responsible to yourself that you have the capacity to develop society. By the time you assist in nation building, in small ways, don't litter the floor, don't drop stuff in drainages, don't, just try to live as responsibly as you can. You discover that gradually you are building a community of sane people that will add value to society eventually. Because we have lots of desperately young people that just want to be successful suddenly, you know. But let's start gradually, and we'll discover that gradually, together, collaboratively, we'll make Nigeria a better place.
Adegboye Damola is a
Adegboye
comedian.
Damola.
Adegboye Damola
Yes.
is a comedian, a first-class graduate of political science, and currently a PhD student.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing
Thank
today
you
with
very
us.
much. Thank
well
you.
done. He's been our Artist of the Week.
Thank you.
And this is where we say thank you for letting us be a part of your morning. It's been a very exciting day, a day of fitness for the Lagos City Marathon, but it's also been a time of insightful thinking as we go forward to build a better you and a better nation. Go out there and be the best you can be. I'm Neo Tagby, and thank you for all those that sent in their comments and tweets. We do appreciate them. Bye-bye. Till next week, Saturday.